And thank you so much for your patience, for taking the time to be with us today for the Master of Arts in Popular Music Pedagogy information session. We have a lot of great content, but before we start, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Omar Perez, and I'm an online enrollment advisor for UOnline and have the wonderful opportunity of working with many of our prospective music students. I hope that today's presentation will assist you in making the best decision for yourself, and my co-host, Andrea Jimenez, will be coming on in a few moments. So before we begin, there are some housekeeping items. So this information session will be about 45 minutes in length. Recording will be available to you after the session, and our enrollment advisors will be answering questions via the Q&A feature. So to make the content relevant to you, if you have any specific questions for our panelists, do feel free to use that feature. And of course, we have our information if you want to speak to one of our enrollment advisors directly. And so looking at the program at a glance, you'll see that it's 10 courses in total. Each course is 7 weeks long. It takes 20 months to complete. You'll see the accreditation there. There is no type of testing requirement, and note that there is a final cumulative exam at the end. So now I'm excited to have the opportunity to introduce my co-host, Andrea Jimenez. Take it away, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Omar. And thank you for all that you do for us over here at Frost and the Frost Popular Music Online. We appreciate you. A big thank you to everybody in our digital audience. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Andrea Jimenez. I work within the Frost School, University of Miami. I support all of the online programs, academic learning programs at the Frost School of Music. Again, grateful to be here today with each of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started with introductions. We're going to introduce our awesome panelists, our pop music panelists, as I like to call them. They are going to briefly introduce themselves. Let's get started with Reina. I'm going to kick it to you first. Please tell us your role within the university, Frost School of Music, how long you've been with us, and essentially your interaction with the Masters of Arts in Popular Music program.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming by and learning more about this program, which hopefully could be a great fit for your learning needs. I'm Dr. Reina Murnak. I am the program director for this degree at, I'm also a faculty member at the Frost School of Music, and I am the head of contemporary voice and performance artistry. I've been at the university for more years than maybe some of you have been alive. That's very possible. And during my time here, I've been a part of so much innovation. Frost is a very innovative place. And I think that's a big value to the degree that you're about to possibly get. We're a school that really has been at the forefront of a lot of methods in popular music pedagogy. And pedagogy is a weird word. It's basically the art and science of teaching. So that word's a little confusing to some people, but basically my colleagues and I'm very happy to have a couple of them here, have developed a really world-class program for creating popular musicians. And we kind of did it. We developed the program, like we were all in the room when this was created here. And we've had so much success and in sending out musicians, but also people who end up teaching. And in the field, there really are not degrees that solely focus on the elements of this that differ from perhaps a more traditional music education training. Now, of course, there are definitely inclusive methods, and we have Dean Overland, who's actually the Dean of Undergrad, so it's amazing that we have him teaching, who definitely is one of those faculty members from the more traditional side that does teach a ton of popular music pedagogy methods in his traditional courses, but not every place has that. And even when you do have it, sometimes you don't have the means to support. You learn it as a concept, but you don't get to actually put boots on the ground. But anyway, there's plenty of time to talk about the contents of the program. I'm going to toss it over to Dean Overland.
Thanks, Raina. Happy to be here. My name is Corin Overland. I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies here at the Frost School of Music. I'm very happy to be speaking with you today. In my role as a popular music pedagogue, my experience is in the K-12 environment. So for those of you who are K-12 teachers, I have been in those shoes as well. My background is partially in choral, but I've also been a gig and keyboard musician for as long as I can remember, playing cruise ships and carnival gigs and or theme park jobs, etc. So I do have a background in popular music or in pop music. And then when I was a teacher, I also helped develop a number of K-12 programs in music technology at the state level. One of the things that I was able to do was build up from a school level what the K-12 student of the future is going to want in terms of how to engage with, how to plug in a microphone, to what a mixer does, to what does a DAW do, all those things that a traditional music experience doesn't often give you, and yet is something that's integral to the music experience. So that's one of the things that we do here is we help you teach others how to teach pop music. That is essentially what it is that we do. So we're happy to have you.
Thank you so much for that, Corey. Dan?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thrilled to be part of this exciting experience that's laying the groundwork for many future generations. My name is Dan Strange. I chair the MAID program at the Frost School. It's an exciting program for all of us who teach in it, who are actively working in the music business and who are able to share those experiences with our students on essentially a day-to-day basis. We've seen the change in the music student. We've thought long and hard about how to address the changes in the industry and what students are walking into employment-wise, what students are bringing to the table, who are the non-traditional students. So it's been a very exciting time to refine a lot of those methods and in our teaching directly to transfer that knowledge now to the educators who are looking to see how we do some of those things. And that is truly exciting to share those practices. I have a lot of day-to-day experience as a keyboardist. My primary role is teaching keyboard. I teach our sophomore theory experience for musicianship for our popular music students. And it's really, we just had actually a midterm today. So fresh off of an exam, sort of, again, seeing the benefits of tailored experiences for the world that they're walking into, who the students who are creating their own music and learning from each other's music. The collaboration is exciting. So all of that is packaged into what we're able to share with you in these courses and ideas for the future music student who is living and breathing at the Frost School as we speak.
Thank you for that, Dan. Appreciate it. So let's jump into really, I guess, what everybody's here to learn more about, which is this amazing program and truly the first of its kind. Raina, let's jump to you. Let's get straight into curriculum. So we know that there are 10 classes, 30 credits. 7 of those are the core classes required, which one include that final amazing master's project. And then the other 3 are elective. So let's jump into all of that. Curriculum, and then let's talk in terms of learnings and the skills that this program essentially focuses on. And we will definitely shift it in between to Corey and Dan, since they also teach many of the core classes that we have here in the program. Take it away.
Absolutely. So let's just start with a broad overview. So 10 courses, 30 credits, right? 7 of those are your core, and I'll explain what those are. So right now we have Professor Overland is teaching popular music pedagogy and administration, which is such a foundational course that really acclimates people to a lot of the language of both music ed and popular music pedagogy. Brings in a lot on assessment and many of the main researchers in the field, and really is a very good and hearty just dive into what we're about to do here. And I'm actually like fangirling out a little because I'm following along in his course and I'm seeing all the wonderful work going on, and I'm very excited about that. Next, we get into popular music methods. So perhaps some of you have had brass methods or string methods. So this is meant to be by no means an exhaustive, we're going to teach you how to play the drum set, but we will teach you how to listen to drum set, what a kit should look like, how to take it apart, listening for groove, understanding how to read a rhythm chart. And we do this for drum set, for keyboard, with Professor Strange is going to be teaching that module. And the beautiful thing about this is we have all of the Frost professors who are the heads of these areas teaching those modules. So Steve Rucker teaches drum set. He was in the Bee Gees for many years. The wonderful Daniel Strange does keyboard. I do voice. We have Brian Russell doing guitar and bass. We have Stephen Gleason, an amazing producer and music technologist, doing essential equipment and technology. And in all of that, and did I miss an instrument there? Maybe I did. I don't know. I think I got them. So it's a grand overview of, so you don't have to hit the panic button if you are tasked, if you're already a music educator and someone says, hey, we're going to do a rock band. Cool. Like that is that's an overwhelming ask if you've only had choir, traditional band, or orchestra. So popular music methods is meant to help give you those tools. Popular music theory pedagogy, I'm not even going to talk about that. I will let Dan Strange talk about that. History and critical studies of popular music from one of our amazing professors here at Frost, Marisol Crivero, who's an accomplished author and researcher, and really a very thoughtful look into not just the history, but the cultural relevance and scholarship in popular music. We will have music business for artists that will be taught by an amazing music professional who has managed more people than I care to list. I won't name drop it, but really who has spent his time in the professional industry at the highest level, and then spent his time with students and realized the gaps and what, as educators, we need to understand the basics of the business landscape that perhaps your students are looking to get into as a career. So in a lot of this degree, understanding that it's not just teaching you to teach this, you have to know a lot about this to teach it, to feel secure and to not feel, frankly, like a fraud, right? Like you want to understand enough about how to release a song, the publishing process, how to plug in, your DAW to your live equipment, to how to get sound in a room. We want to give you all of those skills because A, you might be asked to do this. B, your students are already being expected to do these things in the real world. And we want to give you a lot of tools to teach those things. So music business for artists is going to be this overview of many parts of the industry as they affect an artist. And from that class, you likely will find some interest in that and take an elective. I'll get to the electives in a minute. 2 more core courses. We got peak performance strategies for musicians. And that's a course that's not just because I teach it, near and dear to my heart, because it does talk a lot about the mindful aspects of musicianship, of performing. And it's such an intimate journaling back and forth to me, deep inquiry into your own experiences, and then how to bring that forward into a classroom setting. And then finally, a culminating capstone. Those are the core. The capstone will be based and tailored to your interests and your professional aspirations. Now, we have a ton of electives, so I'm just going to breeze through them like I'm giving you like a catalog flip, okay? So we have media creation, where you're going to learn how to do photography and video, which I think is a great skill, and video editing. I mean, we all need to do this in the modern day. Social posts, we're doing this all of the time. So a deeper look at the art of doing some of that by our amazing videographer, Gonzalo Mejia. We have entrepreneurship for musicians, so you could learn about tax code and how to, like there's a lot there that is so helpful for private endeavors. And some of you are private teachers who that is your entire world. You're an entrepreneur. So there's hearty classes in the business aspect. There's arts leadership. tour management and production, marketing in the music industry, global live entertainment. These are all electives. World of the working musician, financial management in the live entertainment industry, legal aspects of the live entertainment industry. I would like definitely take that if I were in your shoes. It's just, it feels very empowering to be able to look at the language within a contract and understand it. And I feel that that is a key course to that. And your students, I mean, I know Dan and I can speak, our students bring us their contracts constantly. And we did not go to law school, but we're able to look at contracts and understand if something is favorable or not. And of course, we always tell them to go to their lawyer, but that's besides the point. We want you to have the tools to be able to understand some of that. And then communication, marketing, and publicity for the musical artist. So as you could see, in teaching this, we want you to feel almost like you have somewhat of a music business degree on the side of your other traditional music degrees that you may have, because a lot of those courses are never offered in the programs or program paths that you were having to take to be educators. And I think that in today's world, it's kind of, we're expected to know so much at the same time. So that is an overview of the curriculum. And I'm going to pass it over to Dan, who probably can add a little bit about that music theory course, because I know theory can sometimes sound very scary. Dan, is it scary?
Again, we had a midterm today, so when I grade them, I'll tell you how scary. I had students who were nervous coming in, but then I had students smiling when they left, so that was a good thing. Yeah, I'd love to talk about this. The idea of theory and its fears and the fear around analysis and hearing music, I really want to break those walls down, and particularly looking at it from, not just the basic construction of elements that happen in contemporary music and popular music, commercial, wherever the package lies, but I'm excited to share ways that I've developed teaching these concepts through the triangle of melody, harmony, and rhythm, and drilling those skills. As a keyboardist, everything relates to that aspect. So a lot of what I'm going to show in that course, you're going to get a double vision. You'll have me showing you some analysis, ways to explain aspects, multiple solutions, if you will, in terms of arrangement and orchestration ideas. But then you're going to have the overhead shot of the keyboard while I coach you through the ways I've seen students learn it well, the mistakes that have been made along the way, and just to really fill in those gaps. And in particular, look at more of the theoretical and oral analysis through a variety of commercial settings, not just your typical maybe comparables, say, to traditional music. A lot of times when theory and ear training and keyboard skills are taught as a package, there's usually that, well, if you look at this song from, we'll just say, the Beatles, and you look at that arc or that progression and it matches this. I like to dive into maybe some of the areas that aren't dealt with stylistically, particularly gospel harmony, neo soul, modern and classic R&B, substitutions, and more voicing techniques that cross genre. So you're going to get a lot of crossover in the course, as well as, again, taking you through the ways of teaching that course or teaching the material, but also a lot of you may be diving into the material for the first time. So there's a benefit as well to maybe, we never got to that in my theory class, or we never tackled that. We never did that kind of analysis. We never just transcribed what the rhythmic hits were for this chorus, So that's really exciting to be able to, again, take you through a multitude of approaches, and especially, again, to focus on the things that maybe here are some of the ways your students will scratch their heads and wonder, what am I going to do? And here's 3 solutions for that. So that's going to be really exciting for me to be able to share that information.
Dan, thank you so much. Corey, tell us about your course, and let's get more into the practical knowledge that students are developing and the academic principles that come with taking the course for success in pop music education.
Sure. This all kind of starts, and like my compatriots have said, this is the sort of one of the ground level foundational courses that you'll be taking when you come in. And this is the understanding that I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you may want to do with this information. You might have a desire to be a K-12 educator. You might have a desire to open up a studio on your own. You may have a desire to franchise out a school of rock or build your own business. You may have a desire to gig on the side and show people how to gig on the side, or come up with something that we really don't know about. That's sort of what we try to plan on helping you to do, is to chart the courses for things that haven't been invented yet. We already have a lot of things that people are really good at, but we want to make sure that you are able to chart the course to develop your own new things. So what we do here with the primary course is we address some of the basic bits of understanding of what it means to teach, what it means to learn, what it means to even think about music, and how we understand music and how we came to understand music. If you were like me, you came to understand music in an osmosis kind of way. You got thrown into it and you figured out the rules by trial and by error. And hey, that sounded good, and that didn't sound so good. And maybe I'll follow along what that person does over there. And I don't know how that's going, but I'll just sort of do what they do and hope nobody notices. All of those things are valid ways of understanding and thinking about and teaching music. The osmosis approach is what it's called. And maybe you learned how to read notation that way. I know I did. You just got thrown at it and figure it out as you go along. But maybe some of you came through a more structured way of learning music, where you got page 1 in your book, then page 2, then you learned this fingering, then you learned that fingering. Well, that's a whole separate way of understanding and learning music. Both of them are compatible, both of them are viable. But the issue with this course is we're just going to talk about that they are, in fact, different buckets, different ways of understanding how we come to know music. That way, when you go out into the field, whatever that is, you can say, I'm going to do a hybrid of osmosis style learning, where I let you play and explore and do things that sound good and improvise, but I'm going to build that with a structured page 1, page 2, page 3, maybe osmosis, then page 4, then page 5, then page 6. The choices that you make are essentially up to you and how you do them. My point with a course like this is that none of those decisions are accidental. They're all purposeful on your part as the instructor, as the person in front of those people, saying, how does this human understand something musically, and how can I be out in front of it so that they understand ways better? So those are a couple of different things that we do in that initial course. And then finally, if I do my job right, and I tell the people who take this course this way, because I teach it in a number of different formats, if I do that course right, I'm going to ruin the way you think about music. I'm going to, and I'm laughing a little bit, but hopefully you will question in a good way when you see someone doing something, like when you're sitting in with a band and your band leader just throws a head cue. You know, we've all kind of been there. How do you learn that way within a band? Is there a better way that could have been done? Or why did they do that? Why did we not need that to happen? And how can I learn? How can I use that information in a way that's going to help other people? So really, when you come away from this class, you should be going, why did they do that? What effect did that have? Was it accidental? Was it purposeful? It's going to get busy in your head, but that's why it's called school. So that at the end of the day, that's what that initial course is designed to do. You'll also get some basics, like what is a lesson plan? How do you break down a concept like a triplet in a way that a 5th grader could understand, or a way that a grown adult could understand? Because those are, you know, kind of different populations. How do you present that information to someone who might be hard of hearing? How do you manage that information when you are within your own private studio? So basic foundation, basic terminologies, and hopefully I will ruin the way you think about your own personal practice by the end.
Corey, I love that. That was amazingly well said. If anybody in the audience, I hope you can tell that we're very intentional about what we're putting out there for you all through this degree program. Everything is thought of, the courses, the assessments, the assignments. We are thinking of everything and bettering our approach every single semester that we run courses. That's who we are here. Let's wrap everything up since we just hit time. We usually always go over, so bear with us. Raina, Dan, and Corey, I will start with you, Raina. Tell the audience, why Frost? Why choose us? Why do we deserve for them to give us the attention for their academic journey?
I'll be honest, it's because we care so much about our students, and that sounds cliche and fake, but truly what Andrea just said about we're so interested in your thoughts, the future, where you want to take this, how your feedback as learners can improve our process and how our knowledge can improve your dream. So, and I mean, I can speak to this from experience. Sure, I have doctorates, I have degrees, but I've done online degrees as well. And some of them were just, I just felt like I was reading documents. It was not engaging. And I certainly never felt like I knew who my teacher was. Like I never felt that way. I can definitely tell you that by the time you watch our videos, interact with us, back and forth, assignments, journals, feedback, by the time graduation comes at these programs, and I've been teaching peak performance in other programs, so I'm very excited to teach it here, you feel like you're in a family that like you know people deeply. I think that makes this program unique.
Thank you, Raina. Dan? Why Frost?
That's wonderfully said, Raina. I couldn't agree more. I'll jump off of one of the angles there of feeling like you'll be part of the family. We consider, our students are, so carefully watched over by us, and I would jump off of the experience and the feeling of taking education to an online setting. And it's been our mission to make sure that that experience does not feel like a run-of-the-mill red PowerPoint, if I could just say it that way. I take you in my office on my videos. It's, I want you to be part of the experience and part of the process so that it feels like we're right there. But I will also say that I believe that we're one of the few, if not maybe the only, but one of the few schools really thinking about what the future music student looks like and what that student's needs are, and not just their needs, but the educators' needs who are going to be mentoring them. And through a lot of our trial and experiences, our professional experiences, I think we're able to tailor the top experience for you all.
Thank you, Dan. And Corey, I know you said a lot, but why Frost?
I usually do say a lot. Why Frost? I will say the other people on this screen in the Brady Bunch screen share. These folks are great. They're top tier talents, and they're way too humble to brag about it, but I'll brag on their behalf. You will work with some extraordinary people when you come here. And if you wanted traditional, there are plenty of places where you could go. What we do is mindfully and proudly different. We want to be the cutting edge. We want to be the tip of the spear for what art is in this field. Art grows, art evolves. That's what it does, and we want to be on the front edge. And there's nothing to say. I'm not talking down about traditional models of performance. I listen to Renaissance madrigals for fun. There is absolute, they're laughing at me, but it's kind of true because they know me, I do. There's nothing wrong with that. We are also a preservationist, but I was also listening to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard this afternoon. There's a lot of music out there, and it does our artists a disservice when they get to this point in their lives and they don't know what a guitar is or how to string a guitar, arguably one of the most popular instruments on the planet. And well, I will. Do I have time for a short story? Very short story. 2 seconds.
Oh, go for it, and I'll do it to Omar. Go ahead.
All right. So I was doing an Allstate. I do Allstate Choir in Another Life, and I was doing a gig in Seattle. And I asked them, we were singing a song by Handel or whatever. And I asked, they're making a sound that I didn't like, and I said that would be great for Kurt Cobain, but maybe not for Handel. And they looked at me, and this is a joke. And someone in the front row said, "Who is Kurt Cobain?" This is in Seattle. And at that point, I knew they knew more about Handel, a German dude from 400 years ago, than the music in their own backyard. And at that point, I realized that somehow we have missed the boat. And then I decided that we needed to make a course correction. Love me some Handel, also love me some Kurt Cobain. These two are not in opposition. That's why Frost.
I mean, that's it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here with us. Omar, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you as well. Go ahead.
All right, well, thank you for all that wonderful information. And so continuing to some of the access that students have, even in the online format, you have the same resources as our campus students. So you'll see access to the Top Career Center, our Graduate Student Association, and other resources as well. So we definitely want you to feel like you're part of us and you're not just kind of floating away on your own island. And so with thinking about just time frame, you know, and what it is that needs to get handed in, you'll notice the different components of your admissions file, your transcripts. We are able to take your unofficial transcripts, so don't feel that you need to send us your official ones. We wouldn't need those until later. And all of this is done through the application portal. So you'll be able to get your letters of recommendation in there, your resume, personal statement, the submission of your application as well. And for those that are interested in the FAFSA, you are able to utilize that for the program. So we always recommend students get on that as soon as you can. We unfortunately can't control their processing times, so that's why we try to encourage you to push that forward. And so keeping in mind the early admissions deadline of Monday, November 4th, we are offering something special for that. So the $300 deposit fee waiver code, and as well as a 50% tuition waiver that you're able to utilize. And for this particular program, when it comes to the 50% tuition waiver, you are able to utilize that all the way up to the final admissions deadline. And just as a reminder, with the early admissions deadline, we always encourage students to try to work towards that, as spots are limited. So we don't want you to miss this wonderful opportunity. And of course, any specific questions you might have in reference to your situation, financial aid, anything like that, you know, do reach out to one of us enrollment advisors. We'll be more than happy to help. And you can actually apply via the QR code at the bottom as well. So before we let you go, I wanted to say thank you to our wonderful panelists today. And folks, we hope to see you soon as future Canes. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.